All right, so get ready, because today we're going to take a deep dive.
Ooh, deep dive.
Into a world that's both fascinating
Yeah?
and maybe a little unsettling.
Okay.
We're talking about non-speakers.
Right.
And
non-speaking individual.
particularly those with apraxia.
Yes.
And the surge of recent reports about telepathy within this community.
Absolutely. And for many people, when they hear telepathy,
Oh, yeah.
they think science fiction.
I was a skeptic at first, too.
Yeah.
But then I started digging into documentaries like
Oh, cool.
the Telepathy Tapes and the podcast that goes along with that, and my curiosity was piqued.
I think that's the approach we want to take with this deep dive.
Okay.
Not to prove or disprove telepathy.
Right.
But to just explore the reported experiences of non-speakers.
Okay.
And what these experiences might reveal about communication and consciousness.
So before we get too far ahead, let's talk about apraxia.
Yes.
We've all heard the phrase mind-body connection,
Mm.
but apraxia, it's kind of like a disconnect
A disconnect.
between the mind and the body.
Yes.
It's like having a perfectly functioning mind that's kind of trapped inside a body that can't execute commands,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to speech.
That's exactly right. And that's what makes this so interesting.
Yeah.
You have these people who are facing
Right.
significant communication challenges.
Yeah.
But they're demonstrating abilities that we can't really explain conventionally.
Abilities like telepathy.
Yeah, like telepathy.
Okay.
So filmmaker Ky Dickens,
Okay.
who directed the Telepathy Tapes,
Right.
she went from skeptic to believer
Okay.
after witnessing numerous instances of apparent telepathy among non-speakers.
So these aren't just like isolated incidents?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, we see similar accounts from different sources,
Yeah.
parents,
Wow.
educators, therapists,
Ah.
even religious figures
Interesting.
from different backgrounds.
So that's worth looking into.
It really is.
Okay, so let's dive into some specifics.
Okay.
What are some of these examples of telepathy that have been reported?
Well, there's a case of a girl in Mexico
Okay.
who could accurately describe images
Okay.
that her mother was seeing,
Interesting.
even when the mother herself wasn't consciously aware of them.
Hold on, so she wasn't just reading her mind.
Yeah.
She was tapping into something deeper
Deeper.
than her mother's conscious awareness.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
it really is.
Are there other examples like this?
There are. Rupert Sheldrake,
Okay.
a biologist,
Yeah.
has shared an anecdote about a blind boy
Wow.
who could seemingly read an eye chart
Okay.
if his mother was looking at it.
These anecdotes are fascinating.
Yeah,
It really makes you think.
it does.
So how do these non-speaking individuals even communicate if they can't speak?
Well, they use different forms of spelling.
Oh, okay.
Letterboards,
Got it.
iPads, keyboards.
Okay.
They become their voice.
So they're literally spelling out their inner world.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah,
But this method of communication hasn't been without its challenges, has it?
that's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's been controversy surrounding spelling to communicate,
Right.
misconceptions about the level of support required.
Yeah.
And some people associate it with facilitated communication,
Yeah.
which had its own set of controversies.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it seems like some people are so quick to dismiss it
Yeah.
that they might be missing out on valuable insights and perspectives.
Absolutely. It's really a disservice
Yeah.
to these individuals who finally have a way to share their thoughts.
Exactly. And beyond the ethical implications, don't you think there's a deeper question here
Absolutely.
about whether
Right.
our preconceived notions
Yeah.
about communication and consciousness
Mm-hmm.
are limiting our understanding of human potential?
Completely.
Okay. So we've talked about telepathy. You mentioned other extraordinary abilities among non-speakers.
Yeah.
What are some of those?
Well, there are accounts of non-speakers using languages.
Okay.
They were never taught.
Wow.
For example, there's a story of a girl who could identify hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
most of us wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
It is.
So it makes you wonder about the nature of learning
Absolutely.
and if there are alternative pathways
Right.
to acquiring knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like they're tapping into a different reality
That's a great way to put it.
than we are.
Yeah.
Then there's energy sensitivity.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a young man in Houston
Okay.
who has a profound connection to crystals.
Crystals.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he can sense their energy fields.
So this is all fascinating, but how do we explain these abilities?
Well, some experts believe that these abilities, including telepathy,
Okay.
could fall under the category of savant skills.
Savant skills are like those people with extraordinary abilities in certain areas.
Exactly.
So are we saying that telepathy could be a savant skill?
It's a possibility
Wow.
that some researchers are exploring.
So we've got telepathy, language acquisition, energy sensitivity. This is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the reported experiences of non-speakers.
Yeah, it is.
There's one more concept that I think we need to discuss.
Okay.
And it's maybe the most mind-boggling of all. The talk on the hill.
The talk on the hill.
What is that?
Imagine a kind of telepathic chat room.
Okay.
A space where non-speakers can connect.
Interesting.
And share thoughts.
So are we talking about something literal here?
Well, that's the fascinating part.
Okay.
Multiple non-speakers from different backgrounds have independently described this hill.
Using the same terminology.
The same terminology.
Even though they've never met.
Never met or had any contact.
That's incredible. It's
Yeah.
like they're tapping into the same non-physical space. A shared realm of consciousness.
That's right. And they describe it as being divinely protected.
Divinely protected.
Only accessible to those with pure intentions.
Oh, wow.
And a focus on love and unity.
So not just anyone can access this.
It seems that way.
Okay.
There's a story of a neurotypical man
Okay.
who, after years of personal transformation,
Right.
claimed to have learned how to access the hill.
So this suggests that maybe these abilities aren't limited to non-speakers.
Yeah.
That maybe we all have these abilities
Right.
lying dormant,
Right.
waiting to be unlocked.
It's a fascinating question.
It is.
And one that we'll explore further as we go.
Before we move on, there's one more crucial detail about the talk on the hill.
Okay.
Tell me more.
So many of the non-speakers
Yeah.
who have described the talk on the hill
Okay.
say that it's a really vivid and detailed experience.
So they're not just getting vague impressions. They're having full-blown conversations, emotions, even sensory details.
Yeah. Some have even described feeling physical sensations like warmth
Wow.
or a gentle breeze.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder about the nature of reality.
Yeah.
You know, if our minds can create these experiences that feel so real, then what does that mean about our inner and outer worlds?
That's a great question.
And these reports from non-speakers
Yeah.
are really adding a new dimension to this whole conversation.
They are.
It's almost like they're providing us a glimpse into a different reality
Yeah.
where consciousness isn't limited by our physical bodies.
And that brings us to a really crucial point.
Okay.
Materialism.
Materialism.
The dominant scientific worldview
Right.
asserts that everything in the universe, including consciousness,
Okay.
is ultimately reducible to matter.
So if you can't measure it, quantify it,
Right.
or explain it through physics,
Yeah.
then it's not real.
Well, that's a little oversimplified, but yeah,
Okay.
you're getting at the main idea.
Okay.
Right.
Like these reports of telepathy and other abilities are suggesting, what if consciousness is more than just a byproduct of the brain?
Okay.
What if it's actually fundamental to reality?
Yeah. Are we talking about a paradigm shift here?
I think we might be.
That's a big change.
Because that's a pretty big departure
It is.
from how we currently understand consciousness.
It is a radical proposition,
Yeah.
but it's one that's gaining traction
Okay.
with some scientists and thinkers,
Interesting.
particularly
Yeah.
those who are involved with the Academy of Post-Materialist Sciences.
Okay.
They argue that
Yeah.
materialism,
Right.
while useful,
Uh-huh.
is inadequate
Okay.
for understanding the full range of human experience,
I see it.
especially those experiences that point towards something non-physical.
So instead of consciousness arising from matter,
Right,
it's the other way around.
right.
Matter arises from consciousness.
That's the core idea
Wow.
behind post-materialism.
It suggests that consciousness is not just a product of the brain,
Right.
but a fundamental aspect of the universe.
So if we accept that,
Yeah.
that consciousness is fundamental,
Right.
how does that change our understanding of human potential?
Well, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Like what?
Imagine a world where telepathy is commonplace,
Okay.
where we can tap into vast reserves of knowledge and creativity
Wow.
that are currently inaccessible to us.
It's a pretty exhilarating thought,
It is.
but also a little daunting.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can communicate without words, what happens to privacy?
Right. Those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And ones we'll have to think about
Right.
as we explore these possibilities further.
But the reports from non-speakers
Yeah.
suggest that these abilities
Mhm.
are linked to things like love, compassion,
Right.
interconnectedness.
Exactly.
So maybe as we unlock these abilities, we'll also evolve ethically
Right.
and develop a greater sense of responsibility.
That's the hope. It's a beautiful vision.
Is
As
this...
we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm struck by the realization that we've only just scratched the surface
We really have.
of this whole realm of consciousness.
Absolutely.
There's so much more to discover.
Absolutely.
And I believe that non-speakers, with their unique perspective, are going to play a crucial role in helping us to understand
I agree.
what it means to be human.
I think so too.
For our listeners,
Yeah.
I hope that this has sparked a sense of wonder and curiosity and a desire to keep questioning and exploring.
That's what it's all about.
And pushing the boundaries of what we think we know.
Keep your minds open.
Let's keep our minds open, our hearts receptive, and embrace the infinite possibilities. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
On this deep dive.
I enjoyed it.
Into the world of non-speakers and telepathy.
Absolutely fascinating.
Until next time, see ya. They say that it's a really vivid and detailed experience.
So they're not just getting like vague impressions or feelings.
Yeah.
They're actually having full-blown conversations, emotions, even sensory details.
Some have even described feeling physical sensations.
Wow. Like
warmth.
Okay.
Or a gentle breeze.
It's like they're physically there.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
It really makes you think about what reality is.
Right.
You know?
If our minds can create experiences that feel so real, then what's the difference between our inner and outer worlds?
It's a question that we've been asking for centuries.
Right.
But these reports from non-speakers, they're adding a whole new dimension to the conversation.
It's like they're giving us a glimpse into a different reality, one where consciousness isn't limited by our physical bodies.
And that brings us to a really important point.
Yeah.
Materialism, which is like the dominant scientific worldview. The idea that everything is basically just matter.
Yeah, that everything in the universe, even consciousness, can ultimately be reduced to matter.
So if you can't measure it or quantify it, explain it through physics,
then it's not real. Instead of oversimplifying it.
Okay.
But yeah, you're getting the gist.
But what if consciousness is more than just a byproduct of the brain?
Yeah, what if it's actually fundamental to reality itself?
Are we talking about like a paradigm shift here?
I think we might be.
Because that's a pretty radical idea.
Yeah, it's a huge change in how we understand consciousness.
So instead of consciousness arising from matter, it's the other way around.
Yeah, matter arises from consciousness.
Okay, so if we accept that, how does that change our understanding of human potential?
Well, it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Okay, like what?
Imagine a world where telepathy is commonplace.
Okay.
Where we can access knowledge and creativity
wow.
that's currently hidden from us.
That's a pretty mind-blowing idea.
It is.
But also a little scary, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, if we can communicate without words, what happens to privacy?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll have to consider as we explore these possibilities.
But the reports from non-speakers suggest that these abilities are often connected to things like love and compassion, a sense of interconnectedness.
Exactly.
So maybe as we unlock these abilities, we'll also evolve ethically, become more mindful of our thoughts and intentions.
That's the hope.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is.
As we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
yeah,
I'm struck by the realization that we've really only just scratched the surface of all this.
Absolutely. There's so much more to learn.
And I think non-speakers, with their unique perspective and experiences, they're going to play a really crucial role in guiding us
towards a better understanding of what it means to be human. You know, it's interesting to think about how much we rely on language.
Oh, yeah.
To understand the world around us.
Language is like the foundation of everything.
Right, like communication or thought processes.
Absolutely.
Even how we see reality.
It's how we make sense of the world.
But what if, like we've been talking about, language is actually preventing us from fully understanding consciousness and experience?
I like that.
What if it's kind of like trying to describe a symphony using only words?
You can describe the structure.
Right. You can say what instruments are involved.
The emotions it evokes.
But you can't truly capture the essence of the music.
Right. You can't capture the feeling.
And that's where non-speakers come in.
Okay.
They have a unique perspective on communication.
They've had to find other ways to communicate.
Exactly. Because they can't rely on spoken language.
They're not limited by the same rules. Right. So it's like they're not bound by grammar or linear thought patterns.
Exactly. They've had to think outside the box.
And that brings us back to telepathy.
Okay.
Imagine if we could communicate directly through thought.
No more misunderstandings.
Exactly. No more lost in translation.
We could truly understand each other.
Yeah, we could connect on a much deeper level.
It would change everything.
But wouldn't that also create new problems?
Like what?
Well, how do we protect our privacy if our thoughts aren't private anymore?
That's a good question. It's something we'll have to think about.
But the reports from non-speakers indicate that these abilities are associated with positive qualities.
Like love and compassion.
Right.
A sense of connection.
So maybe we'll also become more ethical.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for.
As we develop these abilities.
It's not just about the abilities themselves.
Right. It's about evolving our consciousness.
Exactly.
It's a pretty amazing vision.
It is pretty amazing.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm realizing that we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
I think non-speakers will be essential.
I agree.
In guiding us towards a deeper understanding of what it means to be human.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners out there, I hope this has sparked your curiosity.
Keep asking questions.
Yay, and your desire to keep exploring.
It's an incredible journey.
The world of consciousness is full of mysteries.
It really is.
And I think non-speakers hold a lot of the keys.
I think so, too.
To unlocking those mysteries.
They're leading the way.
So let's keep our minds open.
And our hearts open.
And embrace all the possibilities that are out there.
That's the spirit.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Into the world of non-speakers and telepathy.
Until next time.
See you next time.